I'm no longer new to Warhammer at this point, but I am relatively new to the Darktide community still, so I'm gonna have a couple questions to ask the regulars as I progress through this. However, as I've stated before, I'm not gonna do the thing where I make a 16-minute video just for the sake of wringing out 8 minutes of content. I'm basically planning to give you the rundown on the new update Darktide is expecting on December 3rd. I'm going to give you my simple reception of it as a new player, and you older players can voice how you feel in the comments. I don't know if the content comes out on this game slow or what, so you guys are just going to have to keep me posted there. In addition, I don't know anything about this developer's history besides a substandard launch, so some background on that in your most unbiased manner would be appreciated by me and the other new folks. Alright, let's get into these official dev notes. I want to give you guys the meat of the content first, like what's actually going to be dropped, and then get into the developer Q&A in the back half of the video for those of you that care about that stuff. First things first, this update is called Grim Protocols, and if there's some underlying reference there, by all means tell me, because the only Grim I know about is Billy and Mandy's. There seems to be two very big sellers here. Number one is the announcement of Darktide arriving on the PlayStation. From what I've been able to gather, it will be arriving with cross-platform capabilities enabled. The second big seller appears to be an escalation of difficulty to a Havoc mode. I started playing about a week ago. I can now confidently enter Auric Maelstroms, so I have this to say. I don't want to hear shit about how the new highest difficulty is too difficult for people. Under no circumstances should we be pulling the same stunt that happened with Space Marine 2's Lethal. I hereby motion that if a game is too difficult for somebody, they lower the difficulty instead of demand a challenge be ruined for their satisfaction. I forgot to mention there's also going to be new drip involved for completing that difficulty, and speaking of more new things, there are at least 3 additional weapons as well as a new mission to be expected. The mission is called Dark Communion, and from everything I've been able to put together, it seems to be a raid or some kind of retrieval mission. The last part there about what kind of mission it is could be completely wrong. Just want to preface, like I said, I just spawned into this bitch like last week. The new weapons so far will be a double-handed greatsword for the Zealot, a double-handed wizard sword for the Psyker, and a heavy stubber for the Ogren with 3 variants. Sorry vets, guess you guys are getting sleep for dinner, but I gotta talk about these weapons. The Zealot sword is going to feature wide-sweeping attacks with a metric fuckload of damage, so we can probably expect it to be very slow. It's going to have 2 variants, not really sure what to build off of there, but I hope one is at least for stabbing or it's a little faster. It's also going to have an overheat mechanic, and I know that sounds bad, but just sit down and follow the logic here with me. Typically, when we see an overheat mechanic, that either means there's going to be a heat dump of some kind, which probably ends in an explosion, or it's so unbelievably fuck-ass strong that overheat is the only way to balance it out. Also, it will have a sprinting stab for a special attack, and I'm just going to assume that means a violent lunge of some description. Based off of the description, this wizard sword is going to be slicker than cum on a gold tooth. I cannot help but smile when I read this thing off. It finally seems like they've put a greatsword in a game that's going to maintain some semblance of speed. This is incredible, because every other time you put a sword in a game, for some reason it weighs 300 pounds. Okay, look, fair enough. Half the time a greatsword gets put into a game, it's a 4x12 hunk of steel, so I get why that bitch might be heavy. But anyway, it's gonna have 2 variants, just like the Zealot sword, but it appears to use Psyker charges in order to speed itself up and gain some sort of devastating cleave attack. If they pull it off like the description, this is gonna fuck. Now, I haven't played the Ogren yet because I harbor some sort of resentment as a child being told I was too tall to ride the short bus, even though I met all the other requirements. But the Ogrens are going to be getting 3 versions of a heavy stubber. Now, this seems to be an LMG with some fashion of precision capabilities. I'm not sure what exactly that will entail, but you get a heavy, slow primary fire. You get an alt fire, which is a lot more precise. It's a semi-automatic sort of deal. And then you get a flashlight too, because who doesn't love a flashlight? Please stay by me when it's dark. I hate those missions. Oh, there's going to be an anniversary event for a trinket and more. If you're really interested, I have it up on the screen right now. Just take a peek at it. It's not that big of a deal. Alright, most of the questions people asked kind of sucked, so let me explain how Havoc is going to work for you instead. This shit seems pretty intense, not gonna lie, seems pretty complicated, but I'm gonna try to make it the least amount of complicated as I possibly can. The only requirement to play Havoc is being level 30 and completing an Auric mission. There will be 40 total levels for Havoc. As you go up in levels, the game will further twist your dick or lady part equivalent. Havoc orders are the missions that will increase your Havoc ranking. Each one is unique to the player. You are not going to be seeing many people who share the same Havoc orders. Every rank you move up, the previous rank challenges still apply. Think of it like amassing rocks in the bottom of your shoe as you walk along a shitty gravel path. By the time you get to 40, you're gonna be pretty uncomfortable. You have 3 chances to level up before you get knocked down a notch, and ranks will be updated weekly. If you don't move forward any levels for that week, your rank will drop down 1. If you did complete an order, you remain where you are and your challenges are refreshed. Mission modifiers like Pox, Gas, or Exploding Tentacle Motherfuckers are modifiers that can also stack onto your Havoc order missions. This last part is interesting, I advise you to pay attention. If you complete the highest ranked player's Havoc order in your group, you will all be raised up to their rank. So, if you are a level 1 but you completed your level 26 friend's mission with them, your rank is updated to 27 at the end of the week. That's all I got for you in terms of Darktide news for today. Hopefully that made sense to you. Feel free to join the gaming Discord, linked in the description if you're old enough. We got people playing in there every single day. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good one.